الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. The chair of the conference and Muassas Islamicjerusalem Studies, Professor Abdul Fattah Al-Awasi, the chairman of session, distinguished participants, good afternoon. This paper, we tried to develop a relationship so that we move away from the usual historical, anthropological, archaeological conceptions that fits into the early studies of Islamic Jerusalem as a concept and as an entity. That is why we thank God this session as it appears. We have moved from that historical anthropological conceptions. So we move to the future economics of Islamic Jerusalem as we hope and dreamed for it. Knowledge as it is, from yesterday you have heard the basis and the foundation for the emphasis on Islamic knowledge to the Ummah and humanity as a whole. And then business as it is equally a lawful, legal, most important component of human dignity. For that purpose, we feel Islamic Jerusalem, as we dream of it, will have to start planning better for how best its economy can work to sustain the livelihoods of its people. In this regard, we are familiar with the historical antecedents of Baitul Muqaddis as it appears within the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Within the Judaism religion, we are familiar that Baitul Muqaddis is believed to have been the place where Moses alayhi salam received the commandments. In Christianity, Baitul Muqaddis is equally the place where Jesus is believed to have risen from the dead. In Islam, we have three fundamental perspectives and importance for which we see Islamic Jerusalem. First, as an important Islamic Qibla. Two, it equally is the place for the journey of the night and the ascension of our Holy Prophet ﷺ. And the most fundamental importance of all is the conquest in 637 AD by Umar bin Khattab and the forces at that time. So within these perspectives, we form a basis for which Islamic Jerusalem is an important entity to our religious existence. Now, equally important is the place of Baitul Muqaddis when it comes to historical, commercial history. We equally feel within the modern business world and politics, Islamic Jerusalem is important to look at. The central theme in this context is first to look at how the liberation struggle for the emancipation of Islamic Jerusalem and its realization, will bring about the identity and the cherished status of world Muslims as a whole. So it's not only for the people of Palestine, it is only for the entire Muslim Ummah. So within this new Islamic Jerusalem, as we see it, we want to have a safe and secure investment for any person coming from one country into Islamic Jerusalem as it appears. So here, a business entity that moved from its main parent country to another new country called a host country is regarded as a multinational because they have operations in more than one country of origin. So in this context, when they consider where to operate this multinational, they consider location decisions as part of which knowledge is a major factor. Now, what makes knowledge as a major factor when it comes to foreign capital attraction is because we believe technology, methods of operations, new products are to be moved from home country to a new country. So in doing so, it is expected that those that are met may not possess the major required knowledge message, but those that are coming will come with a superior knowledge level enough to counter the basis of the host or domestic economy. So we try to offer a position where we feel enhanced knowledge can help future liberation struggle, so that Islamic Jerusalem is realized in the context of how much foreign direct investment comes into it. So there are many host country advantages. Security is one, political stability is another, knowledge requirements are other factors. But the most important thing for which our concern in this paper is the issue of knowledge-based requirement for which an enhanced foreign direct investment can be attracted. So 2 basic questions were asked. First, do multinationals enterprises get attracted by knowledge advantage host country? If the answer is yes, then how can the future Islamic Jerusalem offer this? We want to see a new emerging economy that can absorb any form of technology transfer or knowledge tacitness or knowledge transfer as affairs, so that it provides job opportunities for people, so that each of the people existing within the confined, cold Islamic Jerusalem can live with dignity and hope and aspirations. Methodology and objective of this paper. The major aim is to articulate Islamic Jerusalem and the future of its economics in terms of domestic economic planning. What we intend to do is, how can domestic economic planning system focus into improved knowledge potentials for any will-be investor to consider and come to Islamic Jerusalem. Here, we use data from the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics. One, on the literacy rates ranging from 15 years and above between the period 2000-2013, and we equally consider the rate of employment on one hand and the rate of unemployment on the other between same period. Here we take account of the economic sector like mining, services, construction, and other miscellaneous activities. We equally consider region that comprise of our embassage, Islamic Jerusalem, West Bank, Gaza, and the rest of them, the Palestine itself. So we now consider also economic activity and the sex between male employment, female employment, male unemployment, and female unemployment. Now the most important factor here is to see within the period under consideration how many foreign international investment come into Palestine as it is, and equally what will be the future focus of economic indices that will attract a foreign investor into such particular area. The last but not the least, we try to bring an assessment in terms of graduate turnover. Here the number of universities and polytechnics that exist within the Islamic Jerusalem of today, how much number of graduates does it produce in terms of those who hold diploma and those who hold a bachelor's degree. So educational attainment, employment and unemployment, level of literacy rate are all functions of gross domestic product. Literature and facts. We are familiar that foreign direct investment consists mainly of the core principles or knowledge of the plan to be moved from one country to another. Usually, a foreign investor will carry his new technology, new methods of production into a host country, thinking that they are superior enough to counter whosoever he is meeting in terms of competition, profitability, and effectiveness. Literature equally is unanimous on the quality of workforce or significant level of literacy as a factor to a host. Now each time we want to consider where to locate a foreign investment, literature is comfortable with the level and degree of literacy found in that particular country. Literature equally emphasizes strong positive relationship between employment, knowledge, and investment. So here it is believed if there are wider, greater investment opportunities, certainly employment will come. But if this are to be achieved, the knowledge requirement is also an important factor of consideration. So the three fundamental factors are interactive, interrelated, and equally interwoven. Now this paper classifies manpower into technical and professional. We try to identify two basic factors of consideration when it comes to manpower requirement under consideration. First, the technical manpower. The technical manpower consists of the artisans, craftsmen, technicians, and technologists. The professional manpower consists of those degree of people who are professional in contextual terms. They possess bachelor's degree, they conduct supervision, they manage and conduct policy implementation within the multinational firms. So the facts we have at hand is that the literacy level between the ages of 15 to 45 and above shows nearly 89% average for all the three. Then the level of unemployment rate up to 2013 stood at 23.4%. But here we must acknowledge the fact that since 2006 there has not been people crossing over to work. So that tells you the level of unemployment is high between that period because of blockade within the particular enclave of Gaza. Now the second consideration is the level of gross domestic product, which has increased in 2013 to up to 6.9%. The level of foreign direct investment equally increases at the point. Equally important is the number of employed people in that same particular enclave. Now the economic forecast for the 2015 shows the gross domestic product, gross investment, trade balances, gross exports and imports are expected to grow. How can they grow if the investment in itself, either in the context of small and medium enterprises or from the foreign investment, is low? Here it shows there is a trade balance which is negative, showing low productive economy, which means the entire economy at present is dependent on imports. Equally important is the level of education attainment and the graduate turnover from the 12 universities and dual mode for university that exists within the enclave today. So there are at average a turnover of 28,000 students per annum, which means if we take 12, so at least 2,000 students per turnout for a particular period, which is not enough. So you can observe the linkages here to say we need to have more access, more capacity to be able to produce more graduates that will fit into the working population of that particular economy. Now, this paper recommends the following policy measures. First and foremost, we observe that the level of knowledge or literacy level within that particular economy is low. There is much between those who finish secondary schools and below, but there is less for those who hold diploma and bachelor's degree, which means in the context of analysis there is a knowledge gap. Now this knowledge gap requires you to now either reskill. There are many diplomates or graduates who doesn't have working skill. Those that have the working skill is not enough to meet multinational requirements, so there is need for what you call upskilling. And those who are graduates now that require a degree of some form of training or development may equally be boosted. Now there is need to have an absorptive capacity within the universities and technical colleges in the occupied territory in terms of expansion and improvement in education infrastructure in these institutions. Here, when we want to expand, it is assumed there is need for funding. Equally important in the policy implication is the major source of funding. The major source of funding for the Palestinian economy as at now come from the working families outside Palestine, foreign aids, and grants that come into the country. But for us to survive and to be able to expand access and increase educational institutions' capacity, there is need for implementation of what you call education tax fund. This paper recommends education tax fund to at least 1% of all registered companies' profits in a particular period of time. This will help develop the capacity, equip institutions and universities and also fund training and further development of staff and students as well. Equally important is the degree of employable skills in both diploma and bachelor's holders. This paper found from this simple analysis that there is lack of employable skills in between these two forms of graduates. That means there is need between linkage of industrial needs and that of what university and polytechnic teaches. So the curriculum content must come in constant touch with the reality of work situation. Here we mean to say, anytime you have a curriculum to teach a particular form of skill, then you need to involve industry in the development of that curriculum, you need to involve government in the development of that curriculum, you need to involve the stakeholders, that's the university teachers, and there's other major stakeholders in the preparation of such graduates for future work challenges. Here we recommend where curriculum review and development is in existence for a new curricula or emerging one to be in. And then in conclusion, please, we are trying to offer a policy measure in terms of small and medium scale enterprises because we want to boost employment as a function of GDP. So we can only do that if there are more business opportunities or business investments. So to be able to achieve that, the Palestinian National Authority must develop, promote and regulate policy measures with respect to small and medium scale enterprises. We equally recommend student exchange programs that can fast track manpower planning. Here, in the recent recognition by the UNESCO and other major United Nations members, we hope the Palestinian Authority will liaise with such nations instead of giving them aid, which they can just bastardize in a way. Let major number of Palestinian nationals be trained in their countries in emerging, challenging, engineering, science, and technology-based areas or disciplines. Finally, the Palestinian National Authority should establish, equip, or expand technical colleges because there are less number of technical, artisan, craftsmen, and technologists within the working population, which means there is only a dual mode institution existing where it is a university and as well a technical institution. So there is need for more to absorb the teeming youths that are there with less secondary school qualification or less than that. And they need skills to work, and for them to have such skills, they require a requisite training in technical and scientific technology. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.